What up, peeps? It's your boy Heckin Steve. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about Phoenix Resale and his recent venture of wanting to open a video game store. You know, the guy that spent, I don't know, a year and a half crapping on video game stores, saying that it's a terrible idea to open one, blah, blah, blah. Well, now he's opening one, which I still have that theory that he wanted the space for his operations for the quick flips, you know, and this was the only place he could find, but it required him to have a brick and mortar as well, and so he was forced into having a game store. 5 reasons Phoenix Resale should not open a video game store. I wrote them down. So first off, number 1, he doesn't know shit about video games except for Nintendo, which is true. You know, every time you watch his videos, he's always talking about Mario, Wii Sports, Pokemon games, Game Boy handhelds, 3DS, all that shit, right? It's very rare that you hear him talking about any games on any other platforms. Maybe PlayStation a little bit. He did do the PlayStation Pursuit for a little while. But mostly, he just sticks with Nintendo. And that's because he was a sheltered child who predominantly played on Nintendo consoles, because Nintendo consoles are more family-oriented in general. So, a lot of his gaming experience growing up was with Mr. Mario and Pokemon and maybe Metroid, but I've never heard him talk about Metroid. Little Donkey Kong, shit like that. So yeah, he doesn't know shit about video games except for Nintendo, which is exactly why he had an application to be a manager in his store that said, hey, I need you to come teach me how to run my fucking video game store. Yeah, because he don't know shit. He don't know shit about video games except for Nintendo. And, you know, all the pricey games that people are not going to fucking come to his store to buy in the first place. You know, like Roll of Rose, stuff like that. Little Samson. Number 2, he is not passionate about video games, that's exactly true. I mean, at some point in his life, he probably did love playing video games and getting excited about them. But as you saw over time, if you watched his videos, or at least you've watched the recap of his videos from my channel, you know, we watched his basement go from he had a nice little gaming area for when people came over to I need more space for my gaming, you know, business. And, you know, in a lot of his videos, if not the majority of them, he doesn't even refer to video games as games. He refers to them as inventory, because he does not see these objects as things that give you fun. He sees these things as things that give him money. If you open a video game store and you don't give a fuck about video games and you're just there to make a bunch of money off of said games, you're not going to grow a passionate community or loyal customer base, because you're putting money first, which means you're putting corporate first instead of customer experience first. And I know for a fact that he is incapable of creating a customer base, because he will never, ever be customer first. Most likely, that store will be filled with other YouTubers making a cheap content, you know, cheap video for their YouTube content. And it'll be people that want to come by and see how ridiculous it is to tell other people on social media how expensive it is, how much it sucks. There's not going to be a lot of praise for this thing other than, you know, Pixel Game Squad's video and the Retro Rick and all these other guys that are basically doing the same thing that he does, just not as shittily. Number 3, his store name will not work. The name of his store is Quick Flips Video Games. He just unveiled the sign in his most recent video. In that video, he was going to Siege, and that's another reason why I didn't want to go to Siege, because I knew that Fucknut was going to be there, and I knew that Chase was going to be there, and, you know, these two dudes, they buy so much shit at these conventions. I mean, conventions are really just for resellers these days. Like, they get in an hour early every day, so they're able to go around and get first pick and just take all the stuff that someone like me that would drive 2 hours and pay to get in would want. But of course, I never even know that it's there until I watched the Phoenix Resale video or the Chase After the Right Price video a week or so later. Sorry to get off track there, but his store name is not going to fucking work because it doesn't say, hey, this is a great place to buy video games and hang out. No, the name of his store is Quick Flips Video Games, which basically says, hey, this is a place where you could sell me your stuff and I'll turn around and sell it for a profit. There's nothing passionate or appealing to an actual gamer customer base. And I don't think that he really wants that, because I really think that he was forced into doing this. So it's just going to be a content machine. It was forced on him. It's a front. He doesn't really want to have a loyal customer base. He doesn't want people to come in his store on a regular basis to shop. He wants you to bring him stuff. It's just a source for his Amazon business, because you can guarantee, you could bet your asshole, like your actual butthole where the shit comes out, you can bet that he's going to take anything valuable on Amazon and sell it on Amazon until the Amazon ships sales for it. Then he'll be relying more on that store. But he's not going to put a lot of effort into the store. He had to have been forced into it, because you don't make videos for a year or 2 years where you talk about how horrible it is to own a video game store, to all of a sudden flipping it and being like, I'm going to open a video game store. You don't do that. You really don't. It logically doesn't make sense unless you were forced into it and you needed to spin it for YouTube content, because you know that people are going to find out that you have this store. Because, he's never really publicly announced the name of his Amazon store, but all of a sudden now he's going to have a storefront and he's telling you about it. Does that really make sense? Well, it's a lot harder to hide a brick and mortar store, that is for sure. All right, reason number 4 that Phoenix Resale should not open a video game store. He will fail as a Pokemon card vendor. He hasn't mentioned any distribution deals, so if he's just solely relying on used cards that people bring into the store, and in that recent video that he put out, he was going around and paying $10 to $20 for $10 to $20 cards, and mostly going after the ones that he's familiar with, from base set to back in the day, the older cards. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, those cards are cool and stuff, but he was paying like how much they were basically worth, even after his discounts that he was asking for. And he was also asking the audience to tell him if it's okay to sell used plushies in his store. So he has no plan to get any kind of distribution for new card sets, which is that's gonna be dead on arrival right there. You gotta have the new products. That's what keeps the hype going with Pokemon cards. Also, he has not put in his floor plan any room to have like card tables for people to come in, hang out, and play. He hasn't talked about any of that. And if you don't have places for people to come in, hang, and play, then chances are you're not going to have a lot of people coming in there to buy those Pokemon cards. Even GameStop now has tables and chairs in their shops for card games. So yeah, I think that I mean, he's obviously just adding the Pokemon cards in there because based on everything that he's talked to game stores about, and then, failing in the past is that they added Pokemon and that kind of kept them afloat. Yeah, well, that's not necessarily going to work that well for you, buddy, because see the previous reasons. You don't know shit about video games. You're not passionate about video games. You're not passionate about trading card games. You're not going to hold tournaments. You're not going to have any driving factors to come in and play cards or even buy cards. I mean, you may have the occasional person that stops in hopes that you're going to have something that they can't find somewhere else. But Pokemon cards, honestly, they're kind of dying back down again. But I'm sure you, as a YouTuber, will fucking influence people into getting hyped for it again, because that's the only reason that this shit is the way that it is. I mean, let's be honest. If it wasn't Phoenix Resale, Chase After the Right Price, and all these other big YouTube resellers hyping Wii Sports, hyping Pokemon games, then we wouldn't have Pokemon Emerald complete in box being like $800 fucking dollars. You know what I'm saying? It's absurd. Like, they're keeping that shit up. And then the fifth and final reason Phoenix Resale should not open a video game store is because his reputation with gamers is at an all-time low. And guess whose fucking fault that is? That's right. It's Phoenix Resale's fault. Because, you know, the GameCube Gambit, right? Everybody always refers to that one because that was the biggest fuck you that he's ever done. Where he wanted to rebuild his childhood GameCube collection. Got like hundreds of games, and then he ended up selling about 60 to 70% of them. But he didn't tell anybody that he was going to sell that stuff afterwards. You know, it was just a surprise video. Had to make it a video, couldn't even keep that private. He said, hey man, I realized that I'm not going to play the majority of these games. And if you still look up clips of him talking about the GameCube Gambit, he says that he sold 1/3 of them. But really, he sold 2/3. I counted them. And if you've kept up with my channel for a while, you know I've counted that. And it really was 2/3 of those GameCube games. Now, I would be fucked in the head if I was to sit here and tell you that he still has those other games. There ain't no way. Them games have been long gone, son. I don't think he has a game collection at all. Because he doesn't have fucking time to play games anyways. He's too busy selling them. He's too busy out there buying them all and negotiating, getting them all cheap. And that's another thing too. If he's been sourcing all these games for years, why does he still need to go out and source at conventions? Conventions were originally for fans of the genre to come and celebrate. You know, like a Comic-Con, you know, people come out and they love comics and they buy comics from vendors there. A convention is not supposed to be a place where vendors, which are resellers, who put a lot of time and effort and money into actually being there to sell to fans of the products, they're not there to be the source warehouse for people like Phoenix Resale and chase after the right price and other resellers. A reseller is not supposed to buy from a reseller at a fucking convention, especially at a convention. So yeah, I don't know, man. The whole situation is just fucked, and it's gay. It's gay as hell, man. It's two dudes fucking as hardcore as possible with no lubrication. It's just, I think that his store is honestly going to get review bombed. As soon as it's on Google, it's gonna be rough, man. I'm not gonna leave a bad review, but I just know that's what's gonna happen because of the GameCube Gamer thing. And then the PlayStation Pursuit thing, I'm sure the same thing happened with that. I haven't kept up with that one that much, but I'm sure he ended up selling a lot of those games, if not all of them. And then Mission Switch, you know, he bought the top 100 games that he wanted, but then he ended up changing what games he wanted to be in the top 100 as opposed to just adding games. Like, why does it have to be exactly 100, right? He would just swap them out. And I really feel like, you know, he did that because he was tired of doing Mission Switch, because he did that for damn near a year and a half, 2 years. He got tired of trying to find these games. So he switched it up to games that he could find easily. That's going to conclude the video. Let me know what you guys think below. How are you feeling about this video game store that he's opening? I'm sure anyone that's watching this channel, for the most part, is ready to see a motherfucker hypothetically burn down before it's even put up. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.